Hello everyone, it's Naomi. Thank you for tuning in again. The moment I stepped off the plane at Suvarnabhumi Airport, the heavy, humid air hit me, clinging to my skin like a weight I had forgotten. I'm back in Bangkok, but this time, it feels different. I slide into the back seat of the taxi, the air conditioner blasting cold air in sharp contrast to the thick heat outside. The driver glances at me in the rearview mirror, but we say nothing. As the taxi pulls away from the airport, I stare out the window, watching the city unfold in front of me. The streets are alive, buzzing with motorbikes, flashing neon signs, and the faint smell of exhaust that seeps through the cracks of the windows. It's chaotic, messy, and raw. In Tokyo, everything is clean, orderly, efficient. But here in Bangkok, it's as if the city is unapologetically alive, pulsing with its own rhythm. My heart starts to race, my hands slightly trembling as I rest them on my lap. I don't know if it's the excitement of being back or the anxiety of what lies ahead. The taxi weaves in and out of traffic, narrowly avoiding motorbikes that zip by with reckless speed. I close my eyes for a moment, trying to steady my breath, but the memories flood back faster than I can push them away. Pim, her laugh, her gaze, the way she made me feel seen, in a way no one else had. I remember the way we sat together at the cafe by the river, the world outside fading as we talked about everything and nothing. But, as the taxi speeds toward the hotel, I can't help but wonder if coming back here was a mistake. I left something behind in this city, a part of myself I wasn't sure I was ready to confront again. The taxi slows as we reach the hotel, and my stomach tightens. I pay the driver and step out into the sticky heat of the Bangkok night, my heart pounding in my chest. The sticky air clings to my skin, making every breath feel thick and heavy. I rush inside the hotel, my body craving the relief of cool air, but my mind is restless, caught between anticipation and dread. The lobby is cold, unnervingly quiet after the chaos of the streets. I check in quickly, barely registering the receptionist's words, and head straight to my room. As soon as I step into the room, the sterile hotel air hits me, bringing with it a strange sense of detachment. I need to shower, to ground myself. The bathroom is small, the white tiles glowing under the harsh light. I turn the water on, watching as the steam rises slowly, curling around me like a soft veil. I step into the stream of water, feeling the warmth hit my shoulders, then run down my back. The tension in my body starts to loosen, but my mind is still tangled. I run my hands over my arms, feeling the familiar softness of my skin, but something feels different. I press my palms flat against my chest, feeling my heart beating beneath my fingers. The beat is steady, but there's a weight in my chest that wasn't there before. I let the water run over me, staring down at my body, watching as the droplets cling to my skin, tracing the curves I know so well. But those curves, they feel heavier, more defined than before. I run my hands over my stomach, feeling the slight tension in my muscles, the places where my body has changed, grown. I can't ignore it anymore. I've changed. Not just my body, but something inside me. I press my hands to my face, feeling the warm water mix with the sweat and tension that clings to me like a second skin. For a moment, I feel like I'm trying to shed something, an old version of myself, a layer I've outgrown. I close my eyes, letting the water pound against my back, trying to ground myself in this moment. But the thoughts, the emotions, they're still there. I turn off the water, my body trembling slightly as I step out of the shower. I wrap a towel around myself, but even that feels too thin, too light to protect me from whatever's coming. I wipe the fog from the mirror and look at myself. My reflection hazy and unfamiliar. The person staring back at me looks older, more uncertain. I run my fingers through my wet hair, pushing it back from my face, trying to find some part of me that feels the same. But nothing feels the same. I take a deep breath, trying to steady myself, but my chest feels tight, like I can't take in enough air. This is me now, different, changed. I wrap the towel tighter around myself, staring into the mirror a moment longer before stepping back into the bedroom. The cool air from the air conditioning greets me, but it feels too cold, too sterile. I sit on the edge of the bed, staring at my phone, feeling the weight of what's coming pressed down on me again. But I can't stay here. I stand up, grab my bag, and head toward the door. As I step outside, the warmth of the Bangkok night wraps around me once more, pulling me back into the present. And I know I can't turn back now. The air feels dense, almost suffocating, as if the city itself is alive and pressing in on me. I start walking toward the cafe, my feet moving instinctively, even though my heart feels uncertain, unsettled. The streets are busy, alive with the constant hum of motorbikes, street vendors, and chatter from open-air restaurants. Everything around me feels so full of life, so vibrant. But inside I feel the opposite, hollow, quiet. I look around, watching as people rush by, their faces lit up by the neon signs that flicker in every corner. It's like the city never stops moving, but I'm stuck, trapped in a loop of my own thoughts. The narrow streets twist and turn, but I know this path. But tonight feels different. The glow of the streetlights casts long shadows across the pavement, stretching out in front of me as if leading me somewhere I'm not ready to go. I pass by stalls selling skewers of grilled meat, the smoke rising into the air and mingling with the scent of jasmine and motor oil. It's a smell I've grown used to, a smell that reminds me of all the times I've walked these streets before, searching for something I couldn't quite define. But now, I feel like I'm searching for something deeper, something more important. The city feels unchanged, constant, but I'm not the same person who walked these streets last time. There's a heaviness in my chest that wasn't there before, a weight that makes every step feel like an effort. I try to focus on the street in front of me, on the familiar landmarks that guide me to the cafe. But my thoughts keep pulling me back to Pim, back to the uncertainty of what I'm about to face. I reach a corner where the street narrows, the buildings pressing in close on either side, their neon lights flickering overhead. I remember this spot. This is where I first realized how much this city had become a part of me. The noise of the city fades into the background as I get closer to the cafe. My heart beats louder in my chest, the sound of it almost drowning out the world around me. I don't know if I'm ready for what I'll find. The closer I get to the cafe, the heavier the air feels. It's as if the city is closing in on me, every sound, every light, pressing against my skin. I can see it now, the familiar sign, the wooden tables outside, and the dim lights inside that always made the place feel warm, almost like a refuge. I stop just before I reach the cafe, my feet frozen in place. For a moment, I just stand there, staring at the entrance, my heart pounding in my chest. The sounds of the city fade into the background, motorbikes whizzing by, distant conversations, the clinking of plates from nearby stalls. All I can hear now is the rush of my own blood in my ears, the sound of my breath coming too fast, too shallow. What am I so afraid of? I've been here before, I've walked through these streets, sat at these tables. I know this place. But it's not the place I'm afraid of, it's what or who might be waiting for me inside. I take a deep breath, but it does nothing to calm the storm swirling inside me. I think of Pim, of her smile, the way her eyes lit up when she laughed, the way she made me feel seen, understood, in a way no one else had before. But I also think of the distance, the silence, the unanswered questions. I force myself to take another step, then another, my body moving forward even though my mind feels like it's trying to hold me back. I pause for a moment, my hand hovering just above the door handle. There's a heaviness in my chest, a knot of anxiety that won't go away. But I can't stay out here forever. With one last breath, I open the door and step inside. As I step inside the cafe, a wave of warm air and the familiar scent of spices hits me. It smells like home, but there's a sharpness to it tonight, something that makes me feel more like a stranger in this place. The soft glow of the hanging lights and the quiet murmur of conversations wash over me. I glance around, my eyes quickly finding the table where we used to sit, the one by the window, overlooking the street below. It's empty. Of course it is. I swallow the lump forming in my throat and walk up to the counter. "One glass of white wine, please, and something light to eat," I say quietly, almost hesitant. The barista nods and jots down my order, moving quickly to prepare it. I find a seat near the back, away from the crowd, choosing a spot where the lighting is softer and the cafe feels a little quieter. I settle into the chair and glance again at the empty table by the window, as if hoping to see her walk in, even though I know she won't. The cafe feels lively tonight, full of the sound of clinking cups, low chatter, and the faint hum of the espresso machine in the background. But despite all that, I feel alone, detached. The barista brings over my wine and a small plate of grilled fish, jasmine rice, and a bowl of green curry. The aroma is rich, the colors of the food vibrant against the plain white plate. I take a sip of the wine first, letting the crisp acidity roll over my tongue. But it feels empty, like the wine is a distraction rather than something to enjoy. I pick up the fork and take a bite of the fish. The flavor is delicate, the fish flaking easily as I chew, but somehow, it feels distant. The green curry is rich and spicy, the heat spreading across my tongue and warming my body. Yet the more I eat, the more mechanical it feels, like my body is moving on autopilot while my mind drifts somewhere far away. I look out the window at the street below, watching people hurry by, laughing, talking, living their lives. They seem so connected to the world around them, while I feel like I'm on the outside looking in. The food is beautiful, the wine perfectly chilled, and the atmosphere warm, but inside me, there's a hollowness that no amount of flavor or warmth can fill. The door to the cafe opens, and for a brief second, my heart leaps. But it's not her. Just a couple laughing as they enter, finding a seat by the window. I finish my wine, the bitterness now more pronounced. I glance at the empty chair across from me, imagining what it would have been like if she had come. What would we have talked about? Would it have been easy, like before? Or awkward, full of things left unsaid? The cafe is alive with warmth, color, and conversation, but I feel more disconnected than ever. I stand up, placing a few bills on the table, and gather my things. As I step outside, the heat of the Bangkok night wraps around me once again, but this time, it feels heavier, like it's weighing me down. I take a deep breath and walk down the street, the lights of the cafe fading behind me. I don't know what I was expecting tonight, but I know it wasn't this. I walk slowly back toward the hotel, the vibrant streets around me buzzing with life, people laughing, talking, motorbikes rushing past, but it all feels distant, as if I'm walking through a dream. I reach the hotel, the cool air inside a welcome relief, but it does little to ease the tension in my chest. I need another shower, something to wash away this unease clinging to me. I undress slowly, my movements deliberate, as if I'm trying to shed not just my clothes but the weight of the evening, the unanswered questions that sit heavy in my chest. As I step under the warm stream of water, I close my eyes and let it cascade over me, running down my back, my arms, my legs. I look down at my stomach, noticing the slight tension there, the way my muscles feel more pronounced than they did before. I run my fingers over my arms, tracing the lines of my shoulders, my collarbone, feeling the strength beneath my skin. My body feels different, like it's grown, shifted, hardened in ways I didn't notice before. The water runs down my legs, pooling around my feet, and I stare at the floor, watching the droplets fall one by one. I press my hands flat against the cool tile wall, my forehead resting there for a moment as the steam curls around me. My body feels stronger, but my mind is exhausted, worn out from thinking, from waiting, from hoping. I wash my face, my hands lingering over my cheeks, my jawline, noticing the subtle changes in my features. I'm not the same person I was when I first came to this city. I grab a towel, wrapping it tightly around myself as I catch my reflection in the mirror. My hair is dripping, my skin flushed from the heat, and there's something in my eyes, something I don't quite recognize. I dry off and slip into bed, pulling the sheets up around me, but I can't get comfortable. My mind is still racing, going over the night, the empty chair at the cafe, the unanswered questions hanging between me and Pim. I shift in bed, trying to find a position that feels right, but nothing helps. I close my eyes, but my mind won't quiet down. The thought of seeing her tomorrow, if I even do, keeps pulling at me, making it impossible to relax. What will I say? What will she say? Will it be different this time? The questions swirled around in my head, looping endlessly as I lay there in the dark. Eventually, exhaustion takes over, and my thoughts begin to blur, slipping away as sleep pulls me under.